Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. And Wales have done it. They have stunned the Springboks to win the second test and level the series, as the Springbok experiment to make wholesale changes has backfired, as the team came up short in the final few moments. A brilliant conversion by Gareth Anscombe right up against the touchline in the 79th minute, sealing the victory for the Welsh and ruining the South Africans' day. And what I will say is that we cannot spend the entire week talking about how excited we are about this team and how excited we are that we are trying new things, and then when you lose, start saying it was a bad idea, we should never have done it, we deserved it, etc, etc, etc. If you're going to be excited about it, but also be ready to take the consequences. And at the end of the day, South Africa handed out 6 new caps today, made 19 changes to 23, and came up a point short. Whereas last week we won by 8 points. So it's been 2 very close test matches. And I think the frustrating thing about today is I think overall, potentially you could even argue that over the entire 80 we probably played better than last week, although I think our second half deteriorated pretty quickly. But again, I think it's a side struggling with continuity, consistency and fluidity. It's a side that definitely has not played a lot of rugby together, and it kind of looked that way. Again, today, they had all the possession. They had a lot of the territory, but they couldn't do anything with it. And that's getting quite frustrating. And I think that it's coming to a point now where, defense, on attack-wise, we need to start being a bit more creative. And the ironic thing is today we actually looked to try and keep ball in hand a bit more, and still couldn't really carve out that many opportunities. And a certain amount of credit needs to go to Wales for their defensive structures and their defensive effort for being very solid. But I think that, it's just in general we weren't good enough today. And it's a big learning curve. But before we sort of break down the game and exactly what happened, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 14,000 subscribers, so please do join that journey. It was the worst possible start, as Dan Biggar slotted a penalty in the 2nd minute with Pierce du Toit's literally the first passenger player of the game was Warwick Holland taking the kick off and Pierce du Toit going off his feet at the breakdown and gifting a penalty to Wales right in front. Thankfully, Wales did a similar thing, and a couple of minutes later, Andre Pollard did level things. And that's how the score remained in the first half. The Boks had a very good passenger play, a couple in the early stages of the first half where they looked very promising, but just couldn't convert, couldn't find a way to score the points that they needed. And I think that's what sort of worries you, is the fact that we just couldn't really find a way to score tries. Even though, again, we had some very good moments, a couple of good phase plays, a couple of nice gain line advantages, but we kind of sort of struggled to get past the gain line as much as we would probably have liked. And we also didn't capitalize enough on our opportunities and didn't really take our chances. We had a good start to the second half. In fact, we had all the points in the second half before the 66th minute. So, we had gone 12-3 up, and you're sitting there at 66 minutes or 65 minutes, 50 minutes to go with a 9-point advantage. You're thinking, well, we should be able to see this out. I thought Wales were very harsh to get a yellow card to Adam Jones in the 57th minute, and again didn't take our opportunities there. Playing against a 14-man Wales side, we only scored 3 points during that entire period, and unfortunately you did see a bit of a momentum switch in kind of the last 15 minutes, and Wales suddenly started feeling like they were going to score, and they started getting the confidence. Josh Adams went over in the corner in the 77th minute, and you sat there thinking, well, surely, it's going to be a very difficult kick. But Gareth Anscombe just stood up and absolutely slotted it. Brilliant conversion under pressure from Gareth Anscombe. Very impressive. And then, that was that. South Africa had a bit of opportunity towards the end, and then Vincent Clark knocking on a really basic pass, which is very frustrating. And I think what maybe could be the more worrying thing is, for me, a bit like last week, a lot of the senior players didn't step up today. I thought Pollard wasn't particularly good. I thought Pierce du Toit had one of his worst games in a Springbok jersey in quite a long time. I know he hasn't played a lot of rugby. I thought that in the first half, Trevor was very quiet. I thought that, Vincent Koch was pretty quiet throughout when he came on for this entire second half. So I think that's a little bit of the worry, is that a lot of the senior players you expect to make a big difference didn't really make a difference. And I think that some of the debutants played pretty well. Some of them were kind of passengers. I thought that Evan Royston managed to affect the game that much. I thought Marcel Coetzee was a bit better. But I thought that Apley Fassi was pretty poor. I thought Curtly Orange definitely was the best of the back three. I thought Kalant had some very good moments, some very average moments, But he's a bit of a maverick. You know, you're always going to get that with Gelant. He either plays very well or he is, you know, he can make mistakes. He is that kind of player. But in terms of some of the stats from the game, the Springboks had 61% possession according to Rugby pass compared to Wales 39%. So again, had all the possession, but couldn't do much with it. But I want to try and bring up Ultimate Rugby because I find those stats to be a bit more accurate immediately after kickoff. But here we go. So according to Ultimate Rugby, 56% possession for the Boks, 44 for Wales. Territory 53 to 47, and you know the territory game was completely different in the second half. In the first half, we played all the rugby in the Welsh half. In the second half, we played all the rugby in our own half. They actually had 56% territory in the second half. Wales scored a try. We didn't score a try. We had 4 penalties. They had 2. We did run more meters, but they beat more defenders. We had 3 clean breaks. We had more gain line carries. Passes were pretty even. Kicks from hand, we were 23 to 21, so it was also pretty even. Turnovers 1, we had 6 to their 4. So stats-wise, it's pretty even. Our defense wasn't as good. We missed 10 tackles of 92. They missed 7 of 117. So they had 94% tackle success rate. They actually missed more kicks than we did. They left 9 points out there. We left 6 points out there. Ruck success was pretty ordinary. Look, the Welsh lineup wasn't particularly good. In fact, it was actually really poor. And Angus Gardner nailed them a lot for skew throw-ins. So they only operated 69% lineup success rate to our 92. We did lose a couple of scrums though, so our scrummaging performance wasn't really up to scratch. Discipline-wise, look, Wales conceded 8 penalties in their own half. We only conceded 6, but we did concede 12 in total to their 11. So discipline was a bit of an issue for both sides. But they also had a yellow card that we couldn't really make a difference. We talk about some players' performances. I thought Joseph Dwyer played all right, had a nice carry in the first half. I think Evan Lewis had quite a few carries, but didn't really get over the gain line too much. 8 carries, 3 tackles. Marcel Kassier made 4 carries, 3 tackles. Andre Esterhuizen was obviously quite a big ball carrier for the Boks. He carried the ball up, doesn't say how many times, but 30 meters gained, made 10 tackles. So it was quite big defensively. I thought Jesse Creel was pretty good defensively. Didn't see much of him from an offensive point of view. Kurt Lawrence was pretty busy, made quite a few tackles. For the Welsh, I thought that Nick Tompkins was pretty involved. Didn't really do as much, but he did beat 2 defenders, 1 offload. He made all his tackles. He seemed quite busy throughout the match, Nick Tompkins. I thought Dan Lydiard really blew me away today. I thought he was absolutely sensational. He made 18 tackles, didn't miss a single one. He was very physical, didn't take a step back. So I think that he was very impressive for me. I also thought that Tommy Rafael was very good. 9 tackles, 2 carries from him. Look, Wales deserved the victory, I think. I think that they hung into it, and despite some pretty ill discipline at times, probably played the better for over the 80 minutes. The Boks, the experiment didn't work. Very interesting to see the type of selection we do see next weekend. I thought that Jaden Henderson looked very at home, so I think he's justified an inclusion in the 23 next week. But lots of decisions to make for the Springboks management, because I don't think we saw too many players really take the opportunity and make it count. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Please do smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven, and I'll chat to you soon.